whether the team is performing clean or unsightly. We'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, with the excitement of this 3-game winning streak, Washington being essentially on the doorstep of not only the playoffs, we're actually in the playoffs if it were to start today, but on the doorstep, knocking on the door of the division lead as Dallas continues to struggle. They've got a Thursday night tilt tonight against the New Orleans Saints, so all eyes will be on the Cowboys and whether they can get it done or not. But that's not our job to worry about what Dallas is doing. Our job is to take care of our business, because if we don't do what we have to do, then whatever Dallas does, they don't have to win another game if we don't win another game. If the Eagles don't win any more games, they don't have to win any more games. They're in first place. So we have to take care of our end of the bargain to make what Dallas does that much more important, whether they win or lose. So what I want to do is I want to recenter the focus, because I said something on, I want to believe it was Monday night, and I said it in passing. I made sure that I clarified my statement, but I want to make sure I hammer this point home. While this is a game that if you lose it, it doesn't have as much sting as losing to, say, Tampa or Carolina or, any of the teams we've played the last 3 weeks, Seattle, because those are NFC opponents. They're conference opponents, so it carries more weight. This is an AFC opponent. We haven't done well. We haven't beaten a single team in the AFC West. We're due for one. Okay? We cannot allow that whole division to sweep us. And everyone in the division has beaten someone in that division, right? Like Dallas has beaten the Chargers. The Eagles have beaten the Broncos. I don't know about the Giants. The Giants stink. They don't really, they're not in the discussion. We can't let that entire division beat us up, okay? But I said, we can lose this game and we'll be fine. We got to take care of the division games. No. I just want you to know. I said that as to let you know, hey, if this game doesn't go our way, short week, quick turnaround, had some injuries, some guys may not be able to play. If it doesn't go our way, it's not the end of the world. Our outcome of our season will be determined by what we do in the final 5 weeks. While that is true, I still want this game. I want it badly. We've got the momentum. I want to keep the momentum. And what I'm urging fans to do is to not overlook the Raiders, not dismiss this game. Oh, it's an AFC game. We'll be fine. No, beat their ass. They're there for the taking. This is still not a good Raiders team, even though they beat Dallas. Okay? They're still not a good team. They're still reeling. They're still beatable, and they're right in front of us to keep the momentum going into this 5-game stretch of NFC East opponents. So my message to the fans is don't overlook the Raiders. Don't start looking to those 5 divisional games. One game at a time, as the OG continues to tell us. One game at a time. Don't overlook this Raiders team. Beat their ass. Okay, they're right there for the taking. They look like food. We just had a healthy, hearty Thanksgiving meal, but we're still starving, and the Raiders look like a very good opponent to eat up. And again, the disrespect is real. I haven't seen the line. I assure you that we're underdogs on the road, as we should be. And they're still not taking us seriously out there in the NFL sphere. That's fine, okay? I don't care about that. As I've told you, I don't care what it looks like. I just want it to be a win. And so, are the Raiders going to lay down for us? Absolutely not. Are they talented enough to take us out? Yes, you bet your ass they are. And so we've got to come with our hard hat, our lunch pail, and a workers-like mentality to go out on the road. And I want to also reiterate something. This is a business trip, okay? This is not for leisure. We're not going to Vegas to see the sights and to see the lights and to go gamble and take in all that Vegas has to offer. This is a business trip. I'm looking to get off the plane, whoop some ass, get back on the plane, and come back home. I was thinking about going to this game. My buddy is a massive Raiders fan. I am a Washington fan, of course. We circled this game on the calendar, but obviously my wife being pregnant with twins kind of curtailed our plans. But this was one of the games we circled on the calendar. We had never been to Allegiant Stadium. Obviously, he had never been either. He's a Raiders fan, wants to go to the stadium. I want to see my boys. Never been to Vegas before. He had never been to Vegas. So we were looking to kind of kill a bunch of birds with just one stone. But that's not going to happen. But as a fan, you can go out there and you can make a weekend of it. It's a leisure and it's a business trip because you want to get a win. For the players, this is strictly business. Go out there, handle your business, come back with the dub, and let's get ready to refocus our attention to these final 5 games in the NFC East. But it starts this Sunday at Vegas as we continue to keep this ball rolling, make it 4 straight, get back to 500. That's the goal. That should be the one thing that they should be talking to themselves about. We got a chance. Who thought at 2-6, just like last year, when we were 2-7, who thought that we would have a chance to get back to 500? And we had a chance against Seattle to get back to 500, and we failed. We've got that same opportunity this year to get back to 500 after being 2-6. Can we get it done? We never found a way to get to 500. It eluded us last year after coming within a game, within a quarter, within a made extra point and a potential game-winning field goal. We missed out on 500 last year. Here's an opportunity to get it. Okay? Now, last year, we were over 500. First game of the season, we beat the Eagles. And then we lost. And then after that, we never saw 500 again. After the loss the following week to the Cardinals, then we lost again to the Browns. We never got back to 500 on that season. We've been at 500 multiple times. The goal is to get back to 500 because it was a long road, but then it's to surpass 500. We haven't done that this season. Not a single time. We've been 500 twice. After beating the Giants, we were 1-1. After beating the Falcons, we were 2-2. We've never been over 500 this season. So in order to get over 500, you first got to get to 500. The Raiders stand in the way of that. Don't overlook them because you're excited about Dallas twice in 3 weeks, the Eagles twice in 3 weeks, and the Giants to finish up. Take care of the business at hand. And as I've said, and a wise man once told me, don't play with your food. The Raiders are in front of us. Don't play with the food. Eat the food so that we can go to what we feel like could be dessert. And that's the NFC East. So just wanted to make that abundantly clear because I've heard this narrative. Oh, we can lose to the Raiders because it's an AFC game. No! Stop that talk. Let's beat the Raiders, keep the momentum going, and make it 4 in a row, heading into the biggest stretch of our season. And we knew it was going to be the biggest stretch of the season when the schedule came out, when we saw that we had 5 straight division games to wrap up the season. And we said, what the hell is this? Well, you know what? The talk then shifted from, okay, yeah, 5 straight to finish. Can we make those 5 games mean something? Well, we've done that. Here's a chance to really make it count, no matter what the Cowboys do tonight. I told you I wanted 2 out of 3 from them in this stretch while we won all 3. Well, they've handled their end of the bargain. They've already lost 2. They've got a chance to lose all 3. I don't think they will, but then again, I didn't think they were going to lose on Thanksgiving, and they did. So I don't think they lose tonight, but they've already lost the 2 that I asked for. Now we've got to handle our end of the bargain, no matter what they do, whether they lose and they give us a chance to get a piece of first place with a win next week, or they win and next week is just to climb within a game closer. We need to take care of our business. Get back to 500. Make that game mean something, whether it's 8-4 Dallas versus 6-6 Washington or 7-5 Dallas versus 6-6 Washington. We need to be 6-6 when we see those dirty, dastardly dastardly Dallas Cowboys. Say that 5 times fast. Let's get to in other news. So the interesting part about this week, and I told you guys this on Monday night and even the day after on Tuesday, this was going to be a quick week. You weren't going to be able to celebrate it like you were when we beat the Carolina Panthers because there was an extra day, and so you could kind of just sit and savor it. There was none of that. Okay, you win on Monday night. You turn around Tuesday, you try to find out who's healthy, who's what's the situation from the damage done the game the night before, and then boom, it's Wednesday and we're back on the practice field. It's a quick turnaround. So it's already Thursday. We've already had 2 days of practice. Let's take a look at the injury report for both teams, see where we stand. The Raiders are out on the West Coast, so I try to get these out a little bit later so that I can find out what their injury situation and practice situation looks like. We were able to do that today. Let's take a look at Washington's injury report first, and then we'll transition to the Vegas Raiders. So what we'll do is take this look at Washington's injury report, and pretty significant. You know, we knew it was going to be coming out of the game. We had some significant injuries. Landon Collins got injured. Wes Schweitzer got injured. J.D. McKissick got injured. I told you I don't like surprises. We got a surprise with Benjamin St-Juste, who is now in the concussion protocol yet again. I'm worried about the kid. Remember, I told you I was worried about him having a second concussion during practice a couple of weeks ago where he missed a game. He hasn't been playing as much, but you like the fact that he was available for depth purposes should something go awry. He's no longer available, and at this point, I don't know, and you're hoping, and this is what my hope is, first of all, you don't want to see anybody on the injury report due to concussion situations, because those could be, have lingering effects, not just for the season, but for long-term purposes. You never want to see a guy on the injury report due to a concussion. That said, this is the third time Benjamin St-Juste has been on the injury report due to a concussion. Now, the first time we know about that concussion, the second time reportedly was sustained in practice. The hope is he's having a setback with that second concussion and that he did not sustain a third concussion. Now, mind you, the guy's just been playing strictly on special teams. He has not contributed defensively the last 2 weeks. That said, the fact that he's dealing with either lingering effects from a concussion that he sustained 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago now, or he got another concussion doesn't bode well for him in his rookie season. So he's heading down the wrong path. That's something that we definitely need to continue to monitor, because his career could be over before it really gets started, because, again, that's 3 concussions if we are to assume that he sustained another one. My hope is that he didn't sustain another concussion, but there are some lingering effects that have come back, which is not a good thing. If you've had a concussion and you've passed protocol and you're back on the field and now we're back in protocol because you're feeling the effects of not another concussion, but one that you had previously, that's not good either. Either way, it's not a good situation for Juice. That's for certain. He hasn't practiced all week, and the assumption is he's not going to play. The good thing is, to transition, is that we've got some depth now, and I hope that his situation improves, not just for the football field, to hell with that, just overall for his life quality, that his concussion situation improves. And maybe it's best if they just put him on IR for the season, if you're thinking about the well-being of the young man. But we'll see what the situation is. But the depth at corner has gotten better. Darryl Roberts is now healthy and available. Danny Johnson is playing out of his mind. So the depth at corner, we can withstand a Benjamin St-Juste injury now. We couldn't earlier in the season with Torrey McTyer going down and Darryl Roberts having been on IR at the time. We were really thin at corner. So now with Danny Johnson playing well, with William Jackson III playing well and being healthy, Kendall Fuller continuing to do what he's doing, and then having Darryl Roberts still there waiting in the wings, we're fine at corner right now. But you want Benjamin St-Juste healthy. That stinks. Doesn't look like he's going to play this week. Other guys that are out, and these are the 3 guys that got injured during the game that we talked about. Let's start with Landon Collins. Hasn't practiced all week with a foot injury. My sense of it is that he won't play this week. We'll see what happens tomorrow. He could be limited tomorrow. They could just be resting him. He could be fine. But my sense of it is they may keep him out this week and have him ready to go next week. We'll see what happens either way. I got confidence that the guys can step in and do a bang-up job in his absence. But we saw what happened when he was out briefly in the game on Monday night. But that was, a situation where a guy, no excuses, but he hadn't been in all season long, essentially, in DeShazer Everett. He got called upon, and he got put in a tough situation. Really not tough. Just do your job. He fell asleep behind the wheel and gave up the touchdown to Freddie Swain. But anyway, Landon looks like he could potentially be out with that foot injury. And keep in mind, being that it was a shorter week, He missed 1 day of treatment that he would have gotten had the game been played on Sunday. So that quick turnaround may ultimately hurt us with him and potentially J.D. McKissic. Anytime a guy sustains a concussion, though, I just assume they're not playing that first week after the concussion. So J.D. McKissic, for all intents and purposes, is going to be out this game. I think it's going to be Wendell Smallwood is the third back on the roster. They're going to elevate him, and I think ultimately you'll see a heavy dose of Jarrett Patterson this week backing up Antonio Gibson. So I think it'll be the Gibson and Patterson show with McKissic on the mend, and I think we'll see J.D. McKissic against Dallas in a couple of weeks. As for Tyler Lawson, this was great news. Did not practice Wednesday, but he was limited on Thursday. So we could see our depth at center, get better. I still believe he's out this game, and that you'll see, Keith Ishmael get his first career NFL start, and then Lawson will be ready next week for Dallas and that 5-game stretch of NFC East opponents. So I think Lawson is going to end up being out. Landon Collins is going to be out. J.D. McKissic is going to be out. We know Wes Schweitzer is not going to be back with the ankle injury. He hasn't practiced all week. He's not going to practice. I don't think we see Wes Schweitzer until the earliest against the Eagles the week after we play the Cowboys on the road at Philadelphia. I think that's the first time that he's even practicing. So I anticipate he'll be out this week, next week, and then maybe and I still think that week against the Eagles is a long shot. We may not see him until the second Cowboys game, honestly. So, we got some injuries, man. But here's the good news. Antonio Gibson, he's no worse for the wear. Curtis Samuel, never, ever trust a man with 2 first names. No worse for the wear. Brandon Sheriff, no worse for the wear. Ricky Seals-Jones, that's a welcome surprise with the hip injury, limited both days, meaning he's closer to getting back and really giving us some more firepower at tight end. Can you imagine now what the tight end position looks like if we got both Logan Thomas and Ricky Seals-Jones out there? Because Ricky Seals developed so much in Thomas's absence. Now you put him back at tight end too, and then you've got still the young rookie John Bates as your third tight end. I mean, you can do some things with the 2 or 3 tight end set with all of those guys out there that can all catch it and make something happen. So Logan Thomas said he felt even better the day after the game than he did during the game. So that's great news. And Eric Flowers, this is a surprise. Again, I don't like surprises. Foot injury, did not practice Thursday. I'm hoping it's just one of those precautionary measures taken. You see a guy, he could use a day off. You give him the day off. He's back out there tomorrow in full capacity, and there's nothing to talk about. But we will see. Anytime a guy crops up on the injury report that wasn't there before, I get nervous. So that's Washington's situation. Just to recap, I think we're going to be without 5 guys in this game. All 5 of the guys, 4 of the guys that didn't practice, okay, Benjamin St-Juste, Wes Schweitzer, J.D. McKissic, and Landon Collins. I think all those guys are going to miss this game. And then I think Tyler Lawson, even though he practiced on a limited basis on Thursday, I still think he misses this game against Vegas. Now, the question will be, if he practices Friday, how does he feel on Saturday? But my gut tells me he's going to be out as well. Everyone else, I fully expect to play as we transition to what Vegas looks like. Now, with Vegas's situation, I want to make this abundantly clear. They're missing a key guy. And honestly, the guy that they're missing is greater than any guy that we're missing, on our team that could potentially play. And we've got some guys that could be out for us that could be impactful. None of them quite as impactful as the third guy on this list. We'll get to him in a second, but let's look at all the guys real quick that didn't practice, because the assumption is all the guys that have been limited or full participants at some point this week to this point are going to play. So I'm not going to worry about anybody underneath Deshaun Jackson. Assume that all of those guys are going to play in the game. However, let's start with Carl Nassib, the defensive end. He's been outstanding for the Raiders this year, along with Max Crosby. He's going to probably miss this game. He's been dealing with a knee injury. He did not play on Thanksgiving. I don't think he's going to play in this game either. So we may catch a break there. Patrick Owasso is a guy that came over from the Ravens, a really good linebacker. Hasn't practiced all week with a hamstring. That's good news. More likely than not, he's not going to play in this game. But this is the big one here. Darren Waller. And when he went out against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, I immediately went Forget about the Cowboys. I immediately went to us. Hey, we might not have this guy. And look, I don't ever beg for injuries. That's not what I'm looking for. But if they do occur, I'm going to definitely take my blessings. He doesn't play. That is a blessing because that's the one guy that could absolutely shred our defense. You know that we've had issues with tight ends over the years. He's one of the best in the league right now at catching the football. Period. End of discussion. There's a very select group of tight ends, and he is among them in terms of pass catching tight ends. Guy went over 1,000 yards the last 2 seasons. He's been the Raiders' leading receiver the last 2 years. He's been phenomenal. And when he left that Cowboys game, I immediately said, he's not playing against us. And if we catch that break, that's all we need to take advantage of this Raiders offense. And so he hasn't practiced. They're just like Von Miller when we played them right before the bye week, when they kept it out there that Von could practice and play. And, you know, yeah, that's what you do because they want us preparing for Darren Waller. He's not playing in this game, guys. Darren Waller's not going to play. Okay? And we're going to catch a break. There isn't another guy on their team that scares me quite like Darren Waller. And they've got a guy, you've heard of him, Deshaun Jackson, that could absolutely tear us a new one. He doesn't scare me like Darren Waller because Deshaun may impact 2 or 3 plays during the course of a game. Darren Waller is going to catch 11, 12, 13 balls and hurt you on 5 or 6 of them for third down conversions. You're not getting that out of Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, there may be a 67-yard touchdown strike for Deshaun Jackson in there, but he's not going to hurt you 5, 6, 7 times in a game. He's going to hurt you once or twice if you allow him to. Speaking of Deshaun Jackson, he's dealing with a calf injury. We know Deshaun to be a guy that can be explosive 1 minute, out of the lineup for a month and a half the next. He's got a calf. He may play. He may not play. I'm not worried about Deshaun Jackson. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. Yeah, can he hurt us if we don't do our job? You're damn right he can. But at the end of the day, I'm more concerned about Darren Waller, and the fact that he's probably not going to play in this game has me very optimistic about our chances of coming out on top. So we transition back to in other news, and a bevy of players and coaches stepped up to the podium the last couple of days. Ron talked yesterday. We heard from Taylor Heineke yesterday. We heard from both coordinators today. We heard from Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas today. So we heard from a bevy of players and coaches. I really just want to focus on what was said today, however. And a lot of what was talked about today was, you know, the momentum being built, what's different between now and, you know, before when we were on a 4-game skid. And, you know, Jack Del Rio said, look, guys are just essentially doing their job. Guys are locked in. You know, you're seeing that synchronicity that we talked about, that communication that we've talked about, guys knowing what the other guy next to him is going to do. You didn't have that comfort level earlier in the season. Now you're getting it. These are the same calls, guys. Like everyone, oh, Jack Del Rio's terrible. He needs to be fired. Same calls. Different execution, okay? That's it. Nothing different's being done. Jack's not blitzing any more than he was earlier this season. You're not seeing as many 5-man defensive front lines. And you're getting different results because the guys have bought in and they know what the guy next to them is going to do. Scott Turner says, look, this whole mindset of, hey, we're running the ball now, we're this power run team. He's like, no, I've told you guys this already. You play to the strengths of your team versus your opponent. The Seahawks were a team we thought we could run it against, so we ran it, okay? But, you know, we're not going to run the football. He said we had 80 plays, essentially. He said we still threw it 35. That was the thing that boggled my mind. I was sitting here bitching and complaining during the overtime, and then I looked up and I said, Taylor Heineke still threw it 35 times. But, you know, the run worked. I just wanted better execution in 3rd and 1. And he said, look, we've got to break some tendencies, and it's good to hear him say that. Now it's about going out and doing it. He's like, yeah, they were able to stop us 3 straight times on 3rd and 1. That can't happen. And then, you know, he talked about the 4th and 1, and, you know, he wasn't happy about that call. But, you know, it is what it is. And he said, you know, we've just got to be better in those situational moments to execute. But, you know, as far as, you know, our identity is concerned, we're just going week to week. This isn't a full philosophical change. Now, all of a sudden, we're this power run team, mash it down your throat. If a team that is presented in front of us stops the run, similar to Tampa Bay, we're going to throw the football. Remember, we threw it in that game against Tampa, but we ran it down the stretch to set up. We wore that defense down, and then we ran it late in that game. If you get a defensive team that just isn't having it on the ground, and I keep telling you guys this, a lot of you want to run it no matter what. No matter if we're getting 2 yards a pop, you still want to run it. And I'm like, that's not how this works. You only can be allowed to keep running if it's working. And Scott Turner's like, it was working. That's why we were able to keep running. We didn't have to stop because it kept working. We were getting 4, we were getting 3, we were getting 2, we were getting 6. So we could keep running the football. But 3rd and 1 was a problem that needs to be addressed. And then also, you get in the red zone, got to find a way to put it in the end zone. We didn't do that on that final possession, but it was good execution to get into that position, burn the clock. We did, and put ourselves in a position to put the game away. You heard from a couple of players, Terry, and you heard from Logan Thomas. I always like hearing Logan talk because he's so it's just similar to Terry. He's very eloquent, thoughtful answers, goes above and beyond what was asked of him in the question to answer the question. And I love what he said at the end of his post-game presser. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but he told the media at the end, Cam Curl's a top 5 safety in the league. Go watch the tape, and if you don't believe he is, come back and come see me. But I love it. Cam Curl's playing that kind of ball despite dropping that interception. That would have been a huge play in the game. He was outstanding in the game again. And we've talked about Cam Curl's greatness and how good he's been in such a short period of time here in Washington. This guy's trending towards being a superstar type of player because of his versatility and what he brings to the table. Just a really smart guy and does all of the little things correctly. But Jonathan Allen said something that I thought was interesting because this is a conversation that's come up multiple times. And that was, this is not a better defense without Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Like he said, guys are just more comfortable with the guy next to them. We finally got into a rhythm defensively where we know what the guy next to us is doing. The communication is better. He said, there's no way this defense is better without those 2 guys. Period. End of discussion. There's nothing to talk about. Now, are we playing better? Yes. That everyone can acknowledge that. No one's saying that we're not playing better. That doesn't mean we're better. Okay? That doesn't mean we are better. Okay, the New York Giants in 2007 beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. The Patriots were undefeated. Does it mean that Giants team is better than that Patriots team? They play each other 10 times. Are they going to beat them 10 times? No. They were better that day. That's where we are with this defense. Is this defense better long-term without them? Hell no. And anybody that sits here and tries to say that, you're crazy. Are they better right now? Sure. Yeah, they absolutely are. Not going to disagree with you there. So I just want to put that to bed. And it'll come up again because fans are crazy. But Jonathan Allen said it. I just felt like it bared repeating. You know what I mean? It needed to be stated again. So let's transition to our final segment of today's show. And that's our first look at the Vegas Raiders. This is a team coming off of a big win on Thanksgiving over the Dallas Cowboys. They've had 10 days to prepare for us, so they are well rested, are the Vegas Raiders coming into this game. And so we'll see what they're able to do and get done. This is an offense that features a couple of guys that scare me in Darren Waller and their slot receiver, Hunter Renfrow. This guy can break off any DB, get open. He's made a living of that, doing that this season and even last year to a lesser degree. He's having a big-time season this year. He does it all for that offense, especially on 3rd downs. The last time we saw a slot receiver of his caliber, we got broken off to the tune of like 13 catches for 100 and some odd yards and about 6 or 7 3rd down conversions by Keenan Allen. He's that kind of route runner. He's that kind of slot receiver. So I am somewhat nervous about him. I feel better about that matchup without Darren Waller. You add Darren Waller into the mix, Hunter Renfrow becomes that much more dangerous because you have to worry about 83 so much that then Hunter Renfrow is able to sneak under the radar. So you take that guy out of the mix in Darren Waller, and Renfrow becomes the central focus of the defense, especially on third downs. Obviously, you want to slow down the rushing attack. The Raiders aren't a dominant rush team anymore like they used to be. They lost pretty much their entire offensive line this offseason, so they're not the dominant downhill, dick in the dirt run game that they once were with Josh Jacobs, who I feel like is taking a step back in his career as a running back. He came bursting onto the scene the first year or two. He's kind of taken a step back. Injuries have slowed him down, and then offensive line not being as dominant also has slowed them down. But this is a Raiders offense that, if given opportunities with Derek Carr, who's a good NFL quarterback, not great, but a really good, he's a top half of the league NFL quarterback. He can shred you if you give him enough time. We've got to rattle his cage. He does not play well under duress. Some guys in the league can handle pressure and plays well under duress, like Taylor Heineke. He can maneuver and make things. That's not Derek Carr. You put pressure on Derek Carr, he's liable to do something stupid. Fumble, throw an interception, throw it up for grabs. You get to him, you rattle his cage early, you're going to have an uncomfortable quarterback. Similar to what we did to Tom Brady. Doesn't like pressure. We got to him on the first third down of the game. Brady was rattled the rest of the game. If we can do something similar to that to Derek Carr, we've got a chance to rattle his cage, speed up his clock a bit, maybe force him into a mistake or two. At least at bare minimum, get him off the field in third down situations because he's a little too hasty. But that's on the offensive side. Defensively, this Raiders team is light years better than they were last year, but there's still a defense you can take advantage of. There are openings on this defense. They can be an aggressive defense at times, depending on who the opponent is. If they feel like they can speed you up with the blitz, they'll come after you. They're not afraid, but they want to play coverage. They want to keep everything in front of them. They play primarily zone. There are a lot of holes in those zones, and if your quarterback has enough time, and they've got guys like Max Crosby, who leads the league in quarterback rushes and hurries, if you can't protect your quarterback, it's going to be a long afternoon, because then they'll be able to sit in those zones, eyeball your quarterback, and make a break on the football and see if they can't make a play. So we've got to protect. If we can keep Max Crosby and the rest of that defensive line at bay, Taylor Heineke will have some opportunities to throw the football against what I think is a very, very suspect secondary. They play some man at times. They play some zone, but they really want to keep everything in front of them zone-wise. So it'll be interesting to see if we can run the football, because I think there will be opportunities to run the football, to set up play-action fake. Can we take advantage of some opportunities and take some shots down the field and hit them? These are all things I'll be looking for, but we will have a more in-depth breakdown of this Raiders football team tomorrow on the show when we get to our keys to victory. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Washington Football Nightly. Remember, I got a big announcement, two big announcements tomorrow's show. We'll do that at the end of tomorrow's show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. A couple of big announcements that you don't want to miss on tomorrow's show, so stay tuned for that. But in any event, we'll all be watching the Cowboys game with great anticipation to see what happens there. I just don't see how they don't get it done against what is a super banged-up Saints team. No Alvin Kamara, no Teron Armstead at left tackle, no Marcus Davenport at defensive end. They've got so many guys out with injury, it's not funny. And the guy starting at quarterback, who is a difference maker, and Taysom Hill, he's playing on a broken foot. So I just can't see how the Saints find a way to win this game without Alvin Kamara. If Kamara were playing and he were healthy, I'd give him a shot. They don't have Alvin Kamara. I don't think they've got a chance. I think the Cowboys take care of business tonight, but I'll definitely be watching, as will most of you out there as well. Until then, I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington football team. Until next time, you guys take care. God bless, and good night.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.